Thank you for joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. Today, we have a really serious topic. If you would, please share this so that others will hear what is going on in our community. We're going to talk about homelessness. That is serious in this area, and especially that there's not really any affordable housing, not low income housing, but affordable housing. We have counselors here today that are going to share what they have been seeing because the NAACP has been helping with housing for about 5 weeks now, and we've done it last year as well. But this is a really big push. So if you would please stick around, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep up with all the latest news. So stay tuned.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to put a hand of protection.
Bring you on right away. Thank you for joining us. We are so happy that you are here. We have some special guests in the back, and that's who I was just talking with. But without further ado, we're going to bring on our president, Mr. Marvin Neal. Good morning.
Good morning, Ebony. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. It's been quite a day, as you can see. Saturday is usually the day for work, getting the yard cut and all that kind of stuff, but it's some bigger fish to fry. We got some serious stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, I was in the yard this morning, so still trying to do some of that.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about homelessness in general, but specifically homelessness in Georgetown. The NAACP actually has been awarded with the state NAACP. We have housing clinics going on, and we're going to be putting on some predatory lending clinics and everything for future that's coming out here. And Mr. Neal, can you just talk to us a little bit about really just in general the homeless topic while we get our special guests ready?
Okay. Well, one thing, Ebony, we have witnessed firsthand just by some of the work that we're doing here in Georgetown, the challenges that we have in Georgetown with affordable housing. And when you come to affordability, you start talking about homelessness and everything else from a rental side, even to home ownership. So what we have experienced here, though, is tremendous. Indeed, we are not dealing with a lot of people that are not employed. We are dealing with people that's underpaid, and looking for second jobs in order to have affordable lifestyle. So what we're dealing with is I've never seen anything like this in my life. And these are some of the people that I look at every day on the streets, and they'll smile and everything else. And I think sometimes the smile is just to keep from crying, and it's sad that we in a state in American Georgetown here, with homelessness. And we have had situations where affordable housing was turned down by county council because of just inept people that's serving on the council. And that's what it boils down to. So what we have started doing here ever since last year, we were working with South Carolina State Plus program, which helped avoid people from being evicted and helps with mediation between landlords and tenants, and give them rental assistance with individual disability, seniors, anyone, black, white, skin tone don't even matter and stuff. Homelessness is homelessness. And we have to serve the least of us in order for us to move forward and stuff. Because anyone that's underserved and stuff is it's not fair, because there's always an opportunity to get people in a position where they have a actually affordable, livable lifestyle. What I'm saying, healthy lifestyle. From food to Pampers to just the basic needs. So there's so much that we have to deal with here, and we're going to continue to this program here up until December, as far as I know, and it could be extended after that. But thank God for the United Way that there was some funding available
I
at
think
the end
that
of last year, with rental assistance.
right, right. And it's really a blessing that the idea that really, like you said, this program was going on since last year. And they saw the work that the NAACP was doing, that they reached out to us on a state level to provide these clinics all over the state of South Carolina in various branches. But with Georgetown NAACP branch, there are clinics that's going to be going on right in the heart of Georgetown. We're moving over there to Andrews in the Bloomingville area, in the rural areas, and also to Williamsburg County. We're partnering up with those other branches to make sure that those services get out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, Ebony, there's people coming from across South Carolina to get to Georgetown, trying to apply under Georgetown because they are sitting in an area where the median income exceeds what the grant requirement is. And there are other programs in the area that they're really not hearing about. And I think that's just because of a lack of proper representation.
Mm-hmm.
It's called taxation without representation. That's what it boils down to. People are being taxed, and whether they have the minimum wage or the affluent salaries, but they're being taxed. And if you're not being represented by the taxes that you're paying out, then it's taxation without representation. And we have to make sure we keep that in mind. That's why election have consequences. And it's important that people vote. You vote these problems in or you vote them out. But voting is the key. You have to vote. Don't just register to vote, register and vote, but get educated on the process and get educated on the agenda and the platform that you're voting for.
That's right. That's right. And so we thank you so much for those of you who are joining us today. We are talking about homelessness and specifically housing instability. Okay. There are three qualifications that the United Way is actually recording and we're documenting to show proof of housing instability. And that is, and please forgive me if I stumble on these, but if you've been affected by COVID-19, that's one. If you're facing some type of eviction or behind on your rent or mortgage, even, that's two. The third one is that you might be a victim of domestic violence within the home or disability. So really, most people can check off those boxes. And that's a shame. A high percentage of the population in Georgetown can check off because all of us were affected by COVID-19, whether you got a lot of money or whether you don't have any money, we all were affected. Um, and so being behind on mortgage and rent, especially when people were out of work in 2020, that affected most people. Most people had to call to their landlord or their mortgage company and ask for extensions until people could figure out what was going to happen next. If you can think back, Mr. Neal, when they first said everybody had to shut down, nobody went to work at one point other than essential workers. That affected mostly every person. But in the meantime, they were most, if not all, cities and counties were granted rescue funds to help rescue senior citizens, to help rescue people. Some of that money went toward rescues, but to me, it looks like some of it also went to future projects, which, in my opinion, future projects have nothing to do with rescuing people from an incident that happened 2 years ago and people are still suffering from. And in the meantime, utilities are being increased for those people who were already hurting in the beginning.
And Ebony, you hit on a key point there. Future projects have nothing to do with rescuing someone out of a condition that they're sitting in. And that's where the community and those citizens need to hold their representative accountable because their money is not only being misused, that is flat out fraud. And those things should not be happening. You hear of some counties, they're providing funding to small businesses to help them get back on their feet. But some counties are putting their foot on the neck of the small businesses, continue to march. You have people with money that's pulling out of these rescue funds and COVID-19 funds to help their business be more affluent than what it already is. And you have families that had, the moratorium was set on for a while, for a year, but they lift that too early also. As soon as the COVID-19 calmed down, where people could have gotten back to work, that don't mean everyone went back to work. So
Right.
they lift the moratorium on housing, and what that caused is a catastrophic effect on those that still was out of a job, that was behind on their rent and mortgage, and to give their landlord the right within 30 days, they put all those people out if they
Yep.
didn't have that money. And that's why it was so important that we got involved last year, during this time and stuff, with the rental assistance to help keep those people in their homes and stuff. Because the rental assistance actually was paying people 9 months back and 3 months ahead in most cases, even moving costs, hotel costs, and stuff of that nature, which is still doing today. That's in conjunction with the United Way, helping out with eviction assistance and mortgage assistance, and stuff of that nature, with individuals with disability and senior citizen, survivors of domestic abuse, and to include human trafficking. So all those things, if you're sitting in the home with your parent because you lost your home or could not get into a home, you're homeless.
You are homeless.
You're
Homeless.
homeless. And it's just that simple. Don't walk around too proud to beg. You're homeless.
That's right. That's exactly right, Mr. Neal. And so that's what we're talking about today. So again, if you have any comments or posts, please post them on today's spotlight, because as always, you could be featured on today. So if you know of anyone that had to move and they're living with family members, might be renting out a room from a friend or family member, please comment, post if you've seen it happening yourself. We want to hear from you, because we want to get that feedback so we know how to help this community. So with that said, we do have a special guest today. Um, One of the things that we want to bring awareness to the people today, in addition to homelessness, people, a lot more people are homeless than what you think. Just because they're, like you said, if they're living with someone, that means they don't have a place to stay. Otherwise, they would be out on the streets. And matter of fact, we faced that situation yesterday. Person was put out yesterday with children. I want to thank 3 children put
Yeah.
out, had nowhere to go. We were all around looking for shelters. Of course, there's not a shelter in Georgetown, so we're scavenging all over the internet, looking into Horry County, trying to find a place for these individuals. And it's shameful that we don't have those type of resources when they're building brand new hotels, building this, building that. And none of those things serve the people that are here
Yes.
in this city, in this county.
What we have found ourselves accepting, Ebony, is that people get into these positions in office, and what they have done, they are building the platform for people to be this community, the communities of Georgetown, to be gentrified. They're bringing in who they want to live here versus taking care of those that lived here all their lives and paid the tax base here in Georgetown, closing down, attempting to close down businesses like Georgetown Steel that created a tax base for the citizens in Georgetown here. Families that would have been affected had no regards for them. That just happened on city council, and believe me, that have not went away. So we can't go to sleep on that also either. So these are the things that we have to continue to deal with. Families still trying to make a living. And if you think about it, Ebony, when you say homelessness, if you heard Carter Weaver address the county council, in which she did a great job, and Morocco, Miss Morocco of the environmental service there, addressed the county council about her people, which was very respectful, and they're just talking about the impact that a lack of affordable housing have on employing people in the county and within the sheriff office. The people have to drive from Myrtle Beach to Georgetown because they don't have any place to stay in Georgetown or outside of Georgetown. So the employment force for those organizations become a revolving door.
Absolutely.
Carter
Yeah.
Lee was talking about how he trained $70,000, $80,000 to train one policeman, and then a year later they're gone. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So just
it's horrible.
keep his budget in a tail, like the cat chasing his tail.
Right, right. And you know, that's the same thing with school teachers. Then
Yep.
you wonder why you can't recruit and retain good school teachers, because if they come here, it's not affordable for them to live. A lot of these teachers only make $20,000 to $40,000. In the meantime, rent, there's first of all no place to rent. But if you even find some place to rent, is more than what they can afford. But we'll get right back to that, Mr. Neal. Just so we are clear, the NAACP, the Georgetown branch, in this whole region, of partnering up with Andrews as well as Williamsburg County NAACP, we are putting on housing rental assistance to help people who are behind on their rent, um, facing eviction, might be suffering from, disability, human trafficking, domestic violence. As we said, those are going on currently as we speak. From Wednesday, those clinics will be held from Wednesday to Saturday from 10 until 2. The last person accepted at 2:30. So from 10 to 2:30, from Wednesday to Saturday, that's going to be going on. And you can go to our Facebook page to see. We're going to be in Bloomingville, Andrews, and you'll be able to see those dates on there.
One more thing, Ebony. Also want to let the people know that there will be a permanent location in Georgetown at Access Alliance's office here at 1001 Front Street, at the back of the building downstairs. So even when we move to the other areas, we will still have people people still have the opportunity to get that assistance for emergency housing. So just keep that in mind also.
That's a really good point. Thank you so much, Mr. Neal. What we want to do is bring on one of our housing counselors. Okay, her name is Miss Ernestine Giddings. She has been working with housing, along with our chair, uh, Miss Sharon Belton, to help people that come into the office needing that assistance. They help with that paperwork. And yesterday they were sharing with me some of the things that they've been seeing, that almost, it doesn't prevent us from helping people, but it does make it much more challenging to help people in regards to their rental agreement. And I'm going to bring her on so that she can talk about the type of things that she sees whenever people come in. So if you would, please welcome Miss Ernestine Giddings. Give her a thumbs up, a like, share, subscribe. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank
How are
you.
you this morning?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
I'm so happy that you're here to help the people in Georgetown. And I know that you were sharing some different things with me about what you're seeing whenever people come into the clinic. Can you share with us?
Yes. Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. I'm just really happy that we're able to do what we're doing, but we're very concerned about what we're seeing. And some of the things that we're seeing are regarding leases, improperly written leases. We've got illegal fees that are being assessed, responsibilities that are given to the tenants that should be those of the landlord. And the landlords are using improper eviction processes in the community. So those are, they're either threatening, they're harassing, or they're using scare tactics to get people out of the home. They're using even officials that should not be a part of the scams, but they are using them to get people out of the home, and they're moving folks illegally. So we need to really be cognizant of what's going on, and also make those leases or those scams or the procedures that they're using known to the community, so that we have a better handle on rentals
Right.
and the
So
profit.
that's right. So whenever people come in to the the housing clinics, what are the things that they need to bring in?
Well, we're asking them to bring in of course, their ID. also their income, proof of income, your lease if you have it. If you're looking for a place to move, and you've spoken with someone who may be able to lease to you or rent to you, bring a copy of that lease so that we can upload that information to SC Stay, and you're able to get a quicker response. So those are basically, the documents that we need, and of course, landlord information.
Very good. So, when you were sharing that information with me, it dawned on me, the state of where we are in the community for minorities, for people of color, and
Mhm.
also who are poor, you
Right.
know, that if a person, what do you advise a person to do if they have a lease agreement, either before they sign it or if they already have a lease? What can a person do anything if they're already in that type of an agreement?
At this time, we've been looking at the agreements and also contacting certain individuals here in the community that could help us with those leases. But most of the time, I find that the residents don't read their leases. And I can understand that, because if I really need a place to live, I'm going to sign whatever I'm going to sign. However, we need to take the time to read the lease and really agree to do or pay what they say, because some of them don't even realize they're paying $50 a week if they're late on their rent, or some are paying $10 a day if they're late on their rent, and they don't know that it's embedded in the lease. So you have to read that lease. If not, let someone else see it. I don't know if we'll be available to do that, but if we are, bring it over. Let us look at it before you sign it, or let someone help you with that, because some of the things that you're agreeing to, you can't possibly pay. So,
Right. That's
mhm.
right. So you also mentioned, Miss Giddings, that people are paying with cash. How does that hurt a person if they're paying their rent in cash?
Well, most of the time when they're paying in cash, they're not getting receipts. So if you can't get a receipt, then you can't prove that you even made that payment. So it's very important that if you pay in cash, that you have some type of documentation that says you made that payment for that month. You have to be able to prove anything that you say regarding your lease, your landlord. So make sure that whatever he tells you, he can put it in writing, your landlord. So if he says you can have a pet, make sure it's in writing, make sure it's in your lease, because your word against his is something that you can't prove if you don't have documentation. Yeah.
Very good. I think that is all really good advice. First of all, good education to know that though
Mhm.
that scam type, I call it scam type of leases, or they're leases that really
Mhm.
are far fetched. And two, you also mentioned that some landlords you've seen that were trying to get people out of the residence after 10 days, and that's illegal. What's the amount of time that a landlord
Yeah.
has to get a person evicted legally off of a residence? Is it
I'm not familiar with the time, but I know that there's a process that they have to go through. And that process involves, our judges here, our magistrates here in town. So you can't just willy nilly evict someone or say, hey, you've got to be out of here in 10 days, or just say, well, I want to, do some work on this apartment. So you need to leave in 30 days. That's not something that they can just arbitrarily do. So there is a legal process that they have to follow as landlords also.
that's
But
very
also adding on to that 10-day, there's a 10-day window when a person gets the notification of eviction. They have a 10-day window to contest that by going down to the magistrate's office
Yeah,
and
once they
file.
receive, yeah, once they
Exactly.
receive the
Once they
eviction
receive
notice.
that, that is critical.
Mhm.
What we have found that a lot of the tenants have allowed that to expire. They've exceeded that 10-day window. Then they're outside of the window then,
Yeah.
and another thing we need to make sure is clear to some of the tenants, because they come into office as, we are not attorneys. We are
Right.
advocate for those that has a need. And, and that's where we fit in at. We could guide them into the right direction, but we are not attorneys. And we want to make that clear. So the word won't go out, well, the NAACP said. No, we'll go by what you bring to us and try to send you in the right direction to get some help. And that's what we are for. We are advocacy organization, and any attorney that we utilize, it goes up the channel to national and back down. But
That's
at the
right.
local level, we don't have attorneys at the local level.
That's
Right.
right.
And I
That's right.
think when Ebony spoke of the 10 days, she was speaking of a situation in which the landlord said to me
Yeah.
that the rent was due on the 10th, and then after that, we get them out of there. And
Yeah.
so I said, no, you
Yeah.
don't. According to tenant landlord law, you can't
Yeah.
do that.
Correct.
So they're telling our tenants anything, and they're trying to use that information to get them out, and it's illegal to do that.
Wow.
So they really need to know what the law says.
Yeah.
That's right. We appreciate you so much for joining us today and sharing with us about the information and what you've seen. Because in the past 5 weeks, we've helped a few hundred people
Yes.
with their housing. So you've been hard at work. We appreciate that. Just remember, from Wednesday to Saturday, from 10 until 2:30, there's a counselor ready to help you with housing, because rental. And if we also have a resource list that you can come pick up if you need immediate help for utilities, and other resources too, if you have a mortgage assistance. So is there anything that you'd like to share with us before we transition?
I think I've shared it all. And I thank you for having me today. Thank you.
Yes. Have a
Hey,
good one.
thanks a lot, Ms.
Thank you.
Ernestine. And thanks for
Thank
your
you.
work.
Yeah, that's something else. These landlords putting together some shady agreements.
It's amazing, and it's good to have people just on staff here. Ms. Ernestine is one of the executive committee member for the NAACP housing committee, and she's a part of the housing committee here. But it's good to have people knowledgeable on what's going on, Ebony, because a lot of things can get overlooked if we're not careful. And that's why even us as the NAACP, we try to bring in people that has the knowledge and has the background to do the work of the NAACP from the local level all the way up to national. And I've seen the great work that has been done from the local level all the way up to national. And this been going on since 1909, and it's just the history of the NAACP. It's known that we have a history of just doing great work that supports the underserved community, and which impact the most of people of color and the disenfranchised LGBTQ plus community. I even hear it on the court shows now. The judges are talking about it. The LGBTQ community, there are people too. The
Yes.
judges are saying this, and we have to make sure that everybody understands that. So.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for joining. Anyone who is watching us right now, good morning. I think that's Miss Diana. And we appreciate you joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. Today, we are talking about homelessness in Georgetown. But that's a big thing that's going on, not just here in Georgetown. It's happening all over the United States. We're seeing where cost, for one, COVID affecting people, but also other things as far as in paying people a living wage, because we do know that minimum wage hasn't risen very much since 1970. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, but prices are consistently going up.
Mm-hmm.
and a lot has to do with COVID. But the way we deal with the minimum wage on these different organizations, it's more targeted towards supporting the top more than bringing the bottom up to a livable standard. And we have dealt with that right in Georgetown again with the Georgetown County School District.
Mhm.
And that's why we have to be careful who we put in these positions. We don't put people in position to protect each other. Safety is for everybody. We put people in position to make sure they do the right thing, by the taxpayers. So fairness plays a major role. And that's from predatory lending to hiring procedures and just fairness.
Right.
If you look at some of the situations now, Ebony, that's going on that we are still dealing with, people say, oh, it's just them again. But if you talk to those folks that's being affected, yes, just them again being affected. Because the ones that's talking most of the time, they don't have an issue, but they're not too far away from it. They're one step. And I
Right.
tell people all the time, 16, 19 is like yesterday when you're dealing with
Right.
some of these issues. Just to hear the language that people are that they're communicating to you within these meetings.
Right.
When you're sitting in front of a budget committee and the question is asked, why can't you get them to $15 an hour? And the answer is, we never thought about it. So what you think they're saying? But these are people that's sitting up, that's doing the budget for these organizations, that's not thinking about you, that's been retired, came back on, getting a full salary again. But others in the same organization, they can't do that. It's selective few, and it's white people, the bottom line. And that's what's going on. It's race-based. So
Well,
we have to be careful and call things the way it is. Sometimes people say, Mr. New, oh, you're too hard. No, I'm not too hard. You need to step into that space with those people that's suffering and ask them if it's too hard for them. That's where it's hard at. It's easy for me, and I don't mind doing it. I don't like doing it, but I don't mind doing it for the cause, because that's what we're here for, the cause. So I'm not one to sit in a position and just sit back and say, oh, it's all right for this to happen because that's my friend over there, that's my friend over there. I don't have a friend that come down to dealing with injustice and inequality that affects other people. I tell my friends, y'all need to go fly a kite. And I don't need friends like that anyhow. Bottom line, you got to cut some things off and let it go.
let it go. We have one of our viewers here, and she's saying, Miss Diana, that it's never been this hard for me to afford a place to live. Never. It'd be great for her to come on the show real quick and just explain exactly how that looks for her and
Bring her
why she
on.
thinks. Come on. If you want to come on, let us know. And matter of fact, down in the description box, just click on the link, Diana, and you and type in your name, and you can come right on, because I want to hear, you know, what's going on. We want you to come on the show, but here's the deal, and I've explained this for the past, I forgot how many weeks we've been doing this, 5 weeks now, that um most of the people that are coming through this door are working people. Just so we're clear, these are working people that have issues with affordable housing and they need help. Prior to the pandemic, there was a statistic that was done that says most people, I forgot what the percentage is, so I don't even want to say percentage, but it was a huge percentage. You're talking about 80% of the population is one paycheck away from being homeless. Okay. That's a lot. That means if a kid gets sick and you have to miss some hours at work, that means, however that looks, if you miss one paycheck, that could mean the difference between you having a place to stay and not. And what that says is this, and we don't talk about this, but in America, we're supposed to be the greatest ones now. But in America, we have serious housing instabilities and food instabilities. If you have to think about how you're going to pay for food and a place to stay, which is necessary for life, and the water is not clean or the water is too expensive to drink, we have some problems.
And Ebony, it's not just that. If you think about it, some people are one day away from instability.
One day, one
One
day.
day, one day away from instability. One day of pay from instability. And you have people exchanging their medicine to pay rent or just trying to rotate it. I'll be late this week on my rent and late the next month on my house, on my mortgage and stuff, on my rent. That's just not living. That's unhealthy. And that creates a mental health crisis and a cycle that people consistently go through. That's unhealthy.
It is. Diana, click on the link that's in the comment section. Just click on it and it'll bring you right on in. But what Diana is saying, one of our viewers, is that the system isn't built for us. True. Um, that's a good question she's posing. I'm more interested in how we can build a system. I'm not sure exactly what she means by that, but the system has to be for all people. I mean, we're supposed to be a land of the pursuit of happiness, but you're going to have a place to stay, and you're going to have food to drink and food to eat and clean water to drink. That's a problem.
Well, if you think about what she's saying, Ebony, the system wasn't built for us because we weren't at the table when it was being built. Even the rights of people in America wasn't designed for us. We didn't come in until the 13th Amendment. So, it wasn't built for us. It was built to control us, but it definitely wasn't built for us. That's where the fights now comes in at with voting rights, John Lewis Bill of Action. All that was built. All that's the fight against it. They could pass a law for everything else except voting rights. You see what I'm saying? Because that's where our power is at. Our power is in the vote. You know, you know, you know, the term was that lift every voice and sing. We should lift every voice and vote. That's what needs to happen now. Because it is necessary, and I can't stress voting enough. Knock on doors, boots on the ground, make it happen, especially in the underserved and rural community. You need to vote like it's your last ditch effort to live, because it is. That's what we have to do.
That's it. And I love it when people chime in. If you're joining us today, we appreciate it. Please give us a like, share, so people know what's going on. These issues that affect us right in our own community. Homelessness in Georgetown is what we're talking about. We have one of our viewers, local entrepreneurs, okay, here that's going to join us, because she says here that she's never had this hard of a time affording a place to stay. And we're going to bring her on so she can share her experience with housing or affordable housing as an entrepreneur in this county. Good morning, Miss Diana.
Good morning, y'all. How you doing?
How you doing, Miss Diana? Good to see
I'm
you again.
great. I'm great. How are y'all doing?
We hate to bring you on the last minute, but we couldn't help it and knowing you, the work that
No.
you've put into just staying afloat. I'm glad you could come on in such a short moment and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm glad y'all invited me to come on, because this is something like a lot of my friends and just different people that I meet, we talk about a lot. I've lived here for all my life. I've traveled different places, but this is the first time, like I'm saying, I work for myself now, solely for myself. But even when I was working a job, like these last 3-4 years have just been super hard to just maintain, like, living living expenses. The rent is ridiculously high in this area.
How much are you talking about?
From right where I live, literally across the street, a 1-bedroom apartment is like $1,400
There's
a
no way.
month.
You
And
can get a mortgage cheaper than that.
right, and they're super small. I mean, you don't there's nothing included with that. I remember paying rent like 8-10 years ago, and you got water and sewer, like electric or something, cable or something included. Like, there's nothing included in any of these rental properties that you're leasing from, and it's even hard to get homes now. So I do agree with Mr. Neal when he was saying about COVID. COVID has absolutely, this pandemic has shot everything up. It's 50 to 65% higher. Everything is 50 to 65% higher
But has
now.
your income gone up?
And my income has not gone up, but everything else is increasing. And for a small business owner, you build relationships with people, and those people, they trust you, they know what's going on, but at the same time, they still don't want to pay when you raise your prices because things are going up. They don't want to pay that. So it's harder. Like you want to keep things affordable, but you have to make money because you have to live. And it's a struggle. There's like no balance in that. So me being, I just turned 38. I say 30 great. I just turned 30 great. And like I'm really hoping to like that things come down to so where that it's affordable for me to be able to still be able to run my business and not have to get on a job which isn't going to pay me enough anyway.
Right,
It's still,
right.
even having two incomes, like I also know how to hustle. Like I detail cars, I can do any and everything, but the money still doesn't add up to the increase that in this economy. And
Right.
it's really sad. It's difficult.
Right. You know what? We are so appreciative that you came on just to share your experience. And that took a lot of transparency and a lot of courage to come on and share with the public what you're going through. But we need you to speak up and share that because there are other people going through the same exact thing. I'm an entrepreneur, but since you're on, can you just tell us what it is that you do, because we want our community to support you as a local business owner. What is it? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a vegan baker and chef. I cater. So I'm vegan. I've been vegan for almost 5 years. So all of my foods are no animal products involved in what I make. It really, I want to help our community to learn and find new ways of eating healthy and more balanced meals that doesn't include cancer causing and just really disease causing issues that a lot of us have, and we blame it for genetics and hereditary. No, so I want people to give the food and the baked goods that I make a try because they're really good for diabetics, for anybody wanting to make a healthy transition. I definitely would say that I make some really good stuff. So if you want to try me out, I am on Facebook. It's Crumbs Brunch and Bake LLC. I'll probably put it in the chat here. Um, and I'm available Tuesday through Saturdays from 11 to 5. I'm easy to access. I love phone calls. Like I know a lot of people are tech savvy and they want to send emails and things, but you can get me faster if you call me. So
Well,
yeah.
that is awesome. I am so proud of you. You are making moves
Mhm.
because, first of all, I know how your food tastes. You
Yeah.
have collaborated with Cadogo Farms, and you've done from farm. I mean, like literally, we were in the foot of where they grow everything, and you took
Mhm.
those products and those plants and you cooked them. And I tried them, and I've tried some of your desserts. And when I tell you, you will not ever know it was vegan. I have never tasted vegan food, period, that's been so fresh and so good. Please try her out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And that's
But
another thing. Because I'm just getting into the whole agricultural part of this. I'm new, I'm brand new to this, but I love learning. So I love working with local farmers like Kidogo Farm and Dante Bailey out in Florence. He's got the mushrooms and everything like that. So I love getting everything fresh and making sure that like I give fresh food to people as well. As fresh as I can get it, that's how I'm gonna give it.
I'll tell you what, Ebony, I ate some of her food and stuff. And I'll tell you that last pudding you gave us when you was in the office here, my wife loved it to death.
Oh,
Oh
good.
God, that was good. You know,
Yes, it was.
yeah, yeah, it don't taste like anything else, and you wouldn't want to go back to anything else after you taste their food. Believe me, it's just that good, and it's fresh. It helps. It's ventilating. You don't feel all stuffy afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, like
You don't
it's
have the
just
itis.
great. Exactly, exactly. You know, and I know Miss Diana for a while. You know, she was I met her. I gave her a ride from the march in Georgetown doing George Floyd.
Yeah.
She was walking down the streets. It was blazing hot coming from East Bay Park. And I said, "Do you need a ride?" She said, "Oh, yes. Thank you. Just give me a ride." And we've been friends. And I know her family anyhow,
Yes.
Mr. Russell and those, Theodore Russell and those. So great people.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, great chefs. And he's a great chef. So it's just that now that's the DNA. That's in the DNA, you know, because they're
Yeah,
great
it
chefs.
definitely runs through the family for sure.
Yes, and we appreciate you so much. If you ever want to come back and share more information about your business, please come on and
Oh, yeah.
no. Well, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, y'all too.
But anytime you want to come on, Miss Deanna, that door's open for you.
Yes, Miss Diana from Crumbs Bake and Eat. Her food is really good, and I'll tell you what, that
It's
strawberry
great.
shortcake. But we're
Uh,
so thankful.
Me and my
Yeah.
wife hurt ourselves off that strawberry shortcake.
It was very good. Again, thank you, Miss Diana. She came on and she commented that it's never been this hard for me to afford a place to live. That's what she commented, and we wanted her to come on and just share her experience with having affordable housing and the housing instability that about over 80% of the population is experiencing right now. She was vulnerable enough to share with us about what was going on with her.
But you know, Ebony, just looking at what you're talking about, just think about it. You know, the attempt was to bring 456 homes right on 701 in Plantersville community,
Right.
which is you sit looking at a 24 to $28,000 median income community. You know, this was going to be a gated community, 456 homes. You know, that's about as much homes as there already. But they're going to put this in one spot. You know, so just think about that. You know, but these homes was not affordable homes. These were not even affordable to the folks that lives here. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have some mixed use by some means. And I spoke with the county council chair about it, and he agreed. And they're working on some affordable housing, from what he said. And I don't think he would lie to me. I hope he isn't. You know, but and I know Ms. Christian. I think she's a good administrator, and she's proven herself to do what she said she will do also. So, but we have to make sure that we have the right elected officials in place, not one that will go behind the closed doors with his buddies and friends and come back out and say no, not one that will say yes to the community. I'm going to make sure I take care of you. He took care of us all right, you know, and we're going to call that until the next election. And we're going to make sure that we bring those things out when he sets his platform up, said, I'm going to do right by the community. We're going to be sounding that horn. He did not do right by the community because he took away affordable housing from us. And we need to call those people out. And that's our job. And we will be doing that at the NAACP Georgetown. They have to get called out because that's the consequences of who we put in office.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
had people came into the county council last county council meeting. You know, they fixed to put solar farm in the community, which I don't disagree with solar farm, but they're putting it in swampland. Swampland. You know, they already have a flooding problem in Andrews. And the people said it's putting right at their back door, and they never heard about it. No community meeting, nothing. But it's sitting up on council to go through reading. So it's important, and I don't blame council on all of that. You know, the people have to get out and get involved. But still, they should not be taken advantage of because they're not sitting at the table. That's why they trusted elected officials to make the right decisions for them. But that cannot be trusted. Go to the meeting. I try not to miss no meetings in Georgetown. I can't get to all of them, but we definitely try to put people in place in most of the meetings and stuff to make sure that we're getting the information back so we can address the issues in Georgetown. We can't solve it. We can't fight it alone. And the greatest fight that we have and the greatest weapon that we have and the biggest bullet that we have is your vote. Your
Right.
vote. That's the key.
That's right. That's right. We are so appreciative for everyone who has joined today's spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, activate. Hopefully, you know that by now. If you have any questions, comments, or posts, please go ahead and put it up now because it could be featured on today's spotlight. We just brought on a community member, Miss Diana Russell. She talked about as a business owner, okay, how she is having a problem with affording a place to stay, and she has to keep her prices reasonable so that she can keep patrons coming. But because things are 50% higher, it's just a systematic problem that we're having. And here she is again. It truly does start in the community, and we need to get out and vote. And don't vote for your friends. Don't vote just because of whatever. You need to vote and on people who you have found out about what their platform is for. And they need to be for all people, not just for certain demographics of people. They need to be for all people. So we're encouraging you because voting elections is coming up in the city, okay, and on a county level. We need to be more involved. Good afternoon, Miss Brown, Miss Maggie Brown. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. Mr. Neal, before we wrap up, do you have any other thoughts as it pertains to homelessness and housing instability in Georgetown?
Yes, one of the challenges we have in Georgetown specific is that we don't have any place for homeless people to go.
Right.
That is huge. That is a huge issue. And homelessness don't start with people that's not working. It starts with working people that don't have an affordable, livable wage. It starts there with working people. These people didn't go homeless because they weren't working. Because if that's the case, they'd have been homeless since birth. These people were working. And COVID had made a major impact. But the problem is with COVID, everything went up. But when the people went back to work, the wages didn't go up. You see what I'm saying? So those are some of the challenges that we have. And we need to stop playing with it and quit playing with these folks we put in position in these schools, in the county government, in the city government, the elected officials. Quit playing with these folks and call them out. Call them out because it's going to affect you the rest of your life and your children's and your children's children. That's what we're dealing with right now. People are losing homes, property, everything. And especially in the underserved Black community. Y'all need to get out and make your voice be heard. Don't wait on the NAACP to speak for you. Show up with us, hey, and speak with us. Believe me, you got to stand with us for the fight to be strong and to continue. We be at every county council meeting. We be at every school board meeting to make sure that the voice of the people is put out there. So don't take it lightly. When you hear people speaking on the platform of the NAACP, on the platform of Citizens for Progress, these people are speaking the platform of the Gullah Geechee Chamber, 7 Dimensions, all these services, Wise Solution, Club 142. These are people that we collaborate with to try to make sure we're doing great things and make sure we bring people out of a condition and not putting our foot on their neck while they're in the condition. No one could breathe if you got a knee on their neck. And don't ever forget that. That's a lifetime memory for me, the knee on the neck of Black people. Take their feet and knees off of our neck.
Well, that sounded very much like a benediction type thing. And I think that's all that needs to be said. Please remember to like. If you are watching us and you have learned something, you have got something out of it, go ahead and give us a thumbs up because it does help. It helps us. It helps us get in front of more people by showing your support. You can also show your support by donating to the NAACP. Those are the ways you can do it. We do accept Cash App for those of you that would like to do that. Right now, we do have rental and housing clinics going on, helping people with the paperwork to get back rent, current rent, and future rent, and moving and utilities. Um, Helping people with those things. If you know of anyone, including yourself, that needs it, those clinics will be held from Wednesday to Saturday from 10 to 2:30, 3 o'clock. Okay. Share this information so that people will know that we are doing what we can. We can't solve the world's problem, but we will do what we can within our within the capacity that we can. Because Mr. Neal says it best, but our viewer here is saying it, we're stronger together. Thank you so much.
And Ebony, I just want to thank you for the work that you do yourself with just keep people moving. You and Marilyn Hemingway at the Gullah Geechee Chamber and the Gullah Geechee Seafood Trail, 7 Dimensions, with all the work that you do, from SNAPs to Medicare, just the works. Wise Solution, Deontay Winchester, just helping people with counseling, free counseling, and stuff. He has a job. He's an entrepreneur, but he don't turn no one down. And that's
right.
important, that you have to give something back as you're reaching into the heart and the finance of people. You got to give something back. It's necessary. And Evan, if you don't mind, could you just tell them about where we're going next and where the next clinic will be, and put the number in the bottom so they'll know where to call for
Yes, sir.
for housing assistance, the United Way, South Carolina, NAACP.
Yes, sir. We will be in Bloomingville, um, which is on the backside of, I've never been there, of Andrews. Well, I'll surely find out next week whenever we get there. But I'm going to actually pull up and give you the rundown. Again, you can always go to our Facebook page to find out, but we will be in Bloomingville September 21st through September 24th at the Bloomingville Recreation Center. Okay. Then we're going to be in King Street from September 28th through October the 1st. And of course, the Georgetown site, which is at 1001 Front Street over in Georgetown. That will be a permanent site for individuals to come and to get help with housing. But if you don't know where to go, okay, you can always call us here at our branch, and we will give you the number to the state so that you can call and get the closest site available to you. And if you look there on the screen, there is our flyer, and you can actually see the telephone number is 843-790-4075. If you call that number, somebody will answer. If we don't answer, we'll call you back. And you can even text us. If you need the information, we will send it to you as quick as we possibly can.
But Ebony, there's also another workshops coming up with predatory lending.
Yes, predatory lending. That will be, we're going to be collaborating again with the Andrews and King Street branches. I don't have the flyer up here loaded where I can put it on the screen. We will have that posted on our Facebook site so that you can see that immediately. But we'll also be talking about it next week. But it'll be September 22nd over at the Deshaun Rouse Center over in Andrews. That's going to be at 6 o'clock. It's going to be on September 29th over in King Street. We're trying to lock down that location now at 6 o'clock. And Georgetown will have predatory lending clinics going on October the 1st at 1 o'clock, which is a Saturday. So please come out, whether you are affected by predatory lending or not. We need you to take this information so that you can share it, so that you're aware of the type of predatory lending that's going on. We will be serving refreshments during these workshops.
Ebony, I spoke with a young man one day and I was talking about predatory lending, and the statement you made, whether they're affected or not, He said he was doing it so much and so long, he thought it was the normal way of living. So some people are being affected and not don't know that that's just not normal. It's
It's
not
not
designed to be normal. It's taking advantage of people. These
right.
high rate and loans and stuff of that nature. And also
Yes.
there's another critical fundraiser going on today. And that fundraiser is at the Howard Center, for I understand from 1 to 5. On a young lady was burnt out of her home here I want to say Grave Station over there, but she was burnt out. Miss
School teacher,
Nettles,
right?
yeah, a school teacher, Miss Paulette Nettles, and they're having a fundraiser. I'm gonna leave here and go there and give some donations. They're having a fundraiser for her. So please, if you have the opportunity and the time, just drop by. I don't care if you just drop by and do a prayer. Just drop by and please help her out by all means possible, because she was burnt out. She lost everything. Everything. Nothing could replace a loss like that. That is huge. So I'll be over there when I leave here and stuff. So we're just going to pray for her and make sure we keep her in Godspeed.
Thank you so much for all that you do for the community, Mr. Neal. I tell you what, you're a leader at its best. What a real leader should exemplify, and just pulling people together for the servitude of others. We thank you all for joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown branch number 5520, where we're here to educate, motivate, and activate. Again, we appreciate your support and donations. If you want to get a membership, you can go to our website, which is gscnaacp.org, and you can go ahead and put in for a membership. Thank you again. We'll be here same time, same place next week, Saturday at 11 a.m. Until then, stay safe and take care.
Hey, thank you, Abby. God bless you. God bless America.